First order of business is approval of the minutes from previous meeting. Comments?
I had a few comments that I forwarded to Joan. They were mostly just clarification, including a section where we talked about using aluminum clad, and the minutes it said are simulated divided windows. I just said aluminum clad or wood windows with simulated divided lights. The rest of them were just clarifications.
Yes, I read those. Nicely
Okay.
done, thank you. Move to approve the minutes with those alterations.
I move to approve.
Second.
Is Bill joining us today?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, there he is. Pardon me. Pardon me.
So motion by Naylor, second by Childs. King,
Yes,
Naylor,
Yes.
Childs.
Yes.
okay. On to the agenda. 246 South Franklin Street. Windows, siding, and a door in the rear.
Is there anybody here to present? Please raise your hand.
I'm here. Yeah, sorry, it's slow loading there, but thanks everyone. I'm Aaron Emick. I'm the homeowner. And I had presented at an informal about 6 weeks ago and got some tips and pointers, so I appreciate that. So this is the formal submission, and basically what we have is we have our detached garage. We bought the house in 2015 and painted this knowing that eventually we'd have to re-side it. But basically the portion to the right there, you can see the appendage that was built there was done. I've heard conflicting dates, but I think it was in the 1980s. And they never put any kind of permanent siding on there. It was plywood. It's just gotten to the point where it has rotted. There's some pictures in the, if you scroll down another, you can see where the plywood has rotted. So we intend to, put wood Dutch lap siding, replace this with wood siding consistent with the house. It will, not be consistent with the barn, which is board and batten to the left. But after getting some pointers at the informal meeting and finding out about the studs and how it's difficult to put board and batten over kind of existing framing, we decided to go with the Dutch lap siding that would be consistent with our house and neighboring properties. We also want to replace the windows. When we bought the house, they had just put actual storms over top of the openings. There were no permanent windows. Those broke, and we had just some very inexpensive vinyl windows put in as a temporary patch, but now we want to replace those with Anderson 400 series windows. That's what we have in the barn on the front side. And also on our house, we just replaced with the Anderson 400 series. So we'd like to keep that going with this part of our house. And then the last thing is just replacing the existing man door, which has no windows in it currently. It's just a single man door, and we want to replace that with a double fiberglass door with glass, but no muttons, just a single pane on each door to kind of match the fact that we don't have any muttons on the windows. So that's really the extent of what we're seeking to do. And are there any questions at this point?
I had a comment. As far as the man door, the pair, I think I would highly recommend that instead, it looks like that's a raised panel. I would do that a flat panel. A raised panel is more of a formal presentation, and this is an outbuilding or a secondary structure, so it should be a flat panel. That's the only comment. Over that, I think you're doing a nice job, and it's great to, fix the building up with new windows, but I'd highly recommend putting a flat panel in those doors.
Are you going to pull the try to pull that sheathing off, or are you just going to go over it with, put some tieback or moisture and air barrier and then side over the paneling?
I think that the existing is too far gone. I'd like to replace that. I don't have the details on that from my general contractor to know what the plan is, but we discussed ripping that off, and I don't know what goes underneath, frankly. But is there a recommendation for that?
I think the Dutch lap is a good call. I mean, it's kind of a horizontal form. It's really not tall or barn-like like that old barn piece. And I would say when you take it off, I'd put OSB on it. And then behind, you're using actual wood siding. I would put a drainage layer as well as a weather-resistant barrier, WRB. That's Tyvek. Either use a drainage form of Tyvek, which actually exists by the company, or there are a bunch of other people selling drainage, combination drainage, water-resistant barriers. And that will allow the water to get out from behind your wood siding and keep your wood siding happy for a long, long time.
And we're using the same. When we bought the house, the barn was actually the foundation, it was wood and basically big stones that they had found. And so the building had settled and was, it was leaning significantly to one side. And so we had a new foundation poured with like piers, kind of around the footers. And the same contractor is doing this that did that. And that's what he had used when we had to replace some of the board and batten because they had to remove some of it in order to get in and do the foundation. So I'll let him know to do the same thing that he had done with the board and batten portions on the barn for this.
Yeah,
I also wanted to point out because I happen to have seen this structure from the neighboring property. This is really far back on the lot. It's facing the what is a nice little open rear yard, but you're looking at a rear facing elevation from about 120 feet back on the lot. And so this is nice. It's just going to fix something that's been a little bit of an eyesore, but also, maintenance issue for these guys.
nice job.
And because of that location, excuse me, Bill, but suggestion of the panel, just that, a suggestion versus requirement, I would say, because of this location. If it costs you money, stick with a raised panel, I guess.
Or see if you can find one that's stock with a flat.
Yeah, if this is stock and you're ready to go, but
Sure.
Yeah,
I
I'll
don't understand
look
the
at that.
foundation. I don't understand the foundation. So you had a pile of rocks and then you did what?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's not in the area that we're talking about necessarily. It's just over in the higher roof section over there in the barn. We had done that maybe 5 or 6 years ago. We had redone the foundation just in the left half of where the barn is there. We had redone the foundation over there, but the part that I'm discussing on the right there has a concrete block foundation. That's fine.
Right. All right. Further questions?
Motion?
Move to approve as presented.
Second, with suggestion of change to flat panel paired doors.
Yes.
Motion by King, second by Naylor. Childs,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you.
Resubmission's been approved.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay. 170 Hawthorne Drive. It's an HSR that was required. Pretty straightforward HSR. It's over 50 years old, so they wrote it up. Found not to be historically significant and did not affect any historically significant proximate structures in the area because of its location in the backyard. Receive the report from Prospectus.
Second,
Motion by King, second by Naylor to receive the HSR. King,
Yes.
Naylor,
yes.
Childs,
Yes.
HSR approved.
Okay.
Is there anybody here to present for 170 Hawthorne? If you can
Yes,
raise
I
your
am
hand.
Dale Olson, contractor.
Sorry, got you in here.
Welcome. Tell us your project.
So we'll be doing, as it is right now in the back porch, they have a patio that was enclosed with doors, or glass doors. The doors are all rotted out and didn't give any kind of privacy. And so they are, would like to put windows there and a small 2-foot wall, or approximately, for the windows to sit on top, and with the door going out to the patio in the back. And try to get either siding to match, which is going to be almost impossible because it's over 50 years old. Either siding to match or possible something else, like maybe a rock pattern or something like that, to give it a that would match with the same coloring. And so it doesn't look like it's an add-on. It looks like it was supposed to be there in that way.
What's the material of the existing siding? Is that aluminum?
No, that's vinyl.
Oh,
It's original color and everything.
I think it's kind of hard to make a really good judgment or really a lot of thoughts on this. I would highly recommend you maybe get a design professional to lay it out, and if you're not using siding, to show us, like in the shed roof, that portion, like what material is that going to be in, and some elevations, and how's this structure going to tie more appropriately into the existing composition of the house. That I would say we table this to get some drawings for it.
We need to know what we're going to see when it's done.
right.
The only, I mean, and this is my opinion, I don't think replacing the doors with windows is a problem per se. I know you've already bought a bunch of windows. I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea to design around those. It's more just how you do it. As I say, I'm not sure I'm speaking for the board, but not necessarily discouraging you from continuing on that course, but you just need to show us what it will really look like. And also a consideration could be, I mean, the back of that's already white. If you were to use a wood-like material around under the windows, maybe white panels of AZAC, or Hardy, you could change color, and then it just looks like that whole thing as a sunroom is slightly different. Might be a way to go. I might discourage a stone approach, just because it might look like it just popped in from who knows where.
The plan, which we're not looking at but hearing about, is a 2-foot stone wall or brick wall or something.
I think they're figuring it out.
What I could do is I could tell the owners that, I'm just suggesting this. It sounds like you would rather have me use vinyl siding, and if they want to use stone or have a different color, then they could go back before you to go over the architectural drawing, so we can go ahead with the.
Well, you're coming before us again, no matter what, because we want to see what you're going to build, and we haven't seen it. So
Yeah, you can't proceed with the building yet. You need a permit, and we need to approve this before anything.
We have all the permits and everything needed to begin building.
Well, you don't have our approval
Is
yet.
that, wait,
We'd like
that's
to give
not
it-
true.
No, there's been no building permit issued yet.
Oh, okay. I thought we had one. I applied for one.
And that
Well,
was part of your
part of it.
ABR submission, pending approval from ABR.
So we're not coming down negative on your project. We just want to know what the project is, and George has made several suggestions. We need to see a drawing of what we're going to approve.
And I want to clarify it also. I meant AZAC or Hardy are not vinyl siding products. They're substitute wood products.
I had another comment. I think you're in a tough situation if you can't find the vinyl siding to match. I would try to see if you can take that vinyl siding off of that triangular form where the shed roof is above the window. See if you can save that, because if you don't, I really don't know what your solution is going to be above that. I don't think it's going to be panels. I think it's going to be panels below the windows as a datum line that supports the windows, but above that, you may consider reusing that siding if you can't get it and put the siding above.
Yeah.
Just as a.
I don't think there'd be enough there to save, be honest with you. We were not going to touch anything above the windows, just below, and only a 2-foot section is all we're going to do.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
And-
good. Then if you save
And
that
then,
siding.
and then as far as around the windows, we're going to use AZAC around all of the windows for trim, so they will match the back of the house as is. And the only question we had was, you're going to have a door on the side that's being shown right now, and a couple windows, and other than that would be just a small amount of either siding. I can try to get siding and go with that, and or I'm not sure what else.
What you might want to do is, you've got this strong datum line here. This is almost, you consider this an architrave. You could run this architrave back to here, maybe save some of the siding, put what's called a tenue, which is a small line that goes around here. And then some of this siding that you get rid of because of the architrave, you could try to repurpose it some places so you don't have to worry about how am I going to replace it. So I think there's ways to do it and solutions. We just need to see what your presentation is going to be. And it seems like, you're on the right path. It's just, you need some good drawings to review it.
You purchase windows. What are the windows?
The windows are Pella windows,
Pella
They're wood clad.
wood clad.
wood clad, and then we will be replacing windows in the front of the building, and those are all vinyl, but we were replacing apples to apples. What they have now in the front of the house are vinyl windows also.
Is that part of the submission, or that's a later project?
No, that was part of it.
I think that came in on 2 separate permits, and the windows were, like you said, since they were already vinyl windows and you're replacing the vinyl windows, we didn't add that stuff to this one, to the ABR submission.
So it's a trade out repair, in other words.
Yeah, the windows on the front are already vinyl.
Yeah.
Steve, are you
Like
ready
you
for a
said.
motion? Oh, pardon.
Yes.
Okay,
Well-
motion to revise and resubmit, requesting detailed project drawings, including siding and trim materials.
Second.
Motion by Naylor to revise and resubmit, second by King. Childs,
Yes.
King. King,
Steve?
Yes.
Oh,
Naylor.
yes.
Okay.
So we have a motion to revise and resubmit. So Dale, whenever you have that stuff ready, you can resubmit to the building department.
Okay, but in the meantime, we can start the windows on the front, I assume.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
481 Greenhaven, Castaldo. Katie, there's a hand raised.
I know, I've been trying to add him. It's not adding. Just got to give it a second.
I'm just saying. I think he's almost here. Can you hear me? Yep, we see you. How's it going? State your name.
Mario Castaldo. I'm the homeowner at 481 Greenhaven.
Welcome. Tell us about your project.
Looking to put a pre-built shed in the backyard that has a 6-foot door and a 3-foot man door on the side. It'll be 16 by 28 and all of it in the backyard. Most of the details are right on this right here. If you have any questions about it, let me know. The roof will be a 412 pitch. The color is going to be the same as the house. The roof will be the only gray I could choose from to match the roof on the house. And the trim will be a little bit of it'll be gray, pretty much similar to the roof color. But other than that, siding will be wood. And I don't know, anything else you need to know?
Siding
Love to
is,
know what your house looks like. It's pretty close to the house.
So there's the site plan right there, and that's to scale. So my driveway's, it goes straight back past the house all the way to where the shed will be. And then there's a U driveway in the front.
Is your house brick on the outside or stone, or is it clapboard siding?
No, it's a vinyl siding with, I think before I moved in, they might have put like a rhino paint on it because it's sealed pretty well and it's white.
Okay, and it's clapboard siding. It has double hung windows. I mean, it looks fairly traditional, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Oh, wait, there we go. So,
An old picture with, oh no, are those, is that the brick at the bottom? It's
Yeah.
all new siding. It's not brick.
mhm. Our site plan regulations does ask for the location of adjacent properties shown on the site plan. Looks
Okay.
like you actually could have done that, you know, with the methodology you're using kind of a submit site planning thing. The other thing is, my one concern I would have is that a site plan in that way, which is not surveyed, the
I have that
variance,
surveyed. Oh, I'm sorry.
you have it surveyed? Yeah, I mean, if
had
we have a surveyed site plan, you know, you're showing something, you're saying 4 feet and 8 feet, but it looks like you're the same distance from each
Yeah.
property line, but you're saying 4 feet and 8 feet. And then the property lines on this particular type of map could be 5 feet off.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, you definitely would want a boundary survey and maybe give us a little more information
Well,
on adjacent houses.
In 2020, last year, I built a fence and I had a boundary survey performed and I have the fence already in place. It's hard to see on this photo, but it's directly like 6 inches in from my property line. So I can accurately measure distance from both properties, back and side property, based on that. Because I do have a boundary survey. I still have it.
Yeah, if you submit that, that'd be good. And that is very helpful. I mean, I guess this maps picture isn't showing it, the fence.
This is an older photo. This is, yeah. The fence runs along the driveway on this side and then along the back side of the property.
Right. I think if you just gave us a little more information in that manner, then I guess in terms of the architectural appropriateness of the shed, I mean, it's not nothing great. I think you said it's a on gravel with tie downs.
So I hadn't made that decision yet. And now that I've been talking with people, a few have told me the better option might be making like post holes and filling them with cement and then connecting the shed directly to the post holes on the bottom. But the gravel pad was my first initial thought. I thought it would be might be the best for something that might shift or move.
can we see the building again, please?
I mean, I think it's up to board it's fine if this is
I gotta tell you.
okay for a shed on this
I
property.
wouldn't want to live next door to that. It looks like the buildings are standing in front of Home Depot, and having it in my backyard or next to my backyard, I wouldn't appreciate that. It has a minimalistic look, I guess I'll say.
Yeah, I sort of agree with Steve on that. If being cognizant of the neighbors. And then do you see this from the street?
If you look straight down the driveway, you'll see the front of it.
Oh, okay.
Is there an option where you could get a little more detail on that shed, maybe showing a little bit of roof eaves, just some more detail on it?
Like the type of roof. I mean, I could put any roof on it, really. It's going to come with a metal roof right now, but I can put shingles. I can put, and then I'm like, can I get an example, like a suggestion for the style of the building that you're looking for?
I think that the thickness of the eaves, so, looking a little more like a traditionally built structure, and a little bit of overhang. It looks like it's just like very thin and very minimal. So that would make it look a touch more traditional. And, it looks like, is that a metal siding? Just a slightly more traditional look on it.
It's being called a shed, but it's as big as a garage.
It's a larger shed. It's not too large for zoning though. They don't have a detached structure on the property other than this.
Yeah.
Or accessory.
What's hurting your presentation is this perspective, and it's hard to really read it. Like George was saying about the overhangs, it would be really helpful, not to cause you more work, but it would be good to see what the side elevation looks like, the front, the back, and get an idea proportion wise, like that doors to the left of and the windows to the right, like really how does that look on a front elevation? And then does this roof pitch, not that it has to, but does it match the existing house, or like does the pitch have any relationship to the existing composition? And the windows too. I mean, do they have double hung windows on the existing house? It looked like it did, but I guess I was just saying it'd be good to have elevations and really see what you're presenting. And like George said, it's hard to tell, is that a 2x4 fascia board and a 2x4 rake, or is that a 2x6? It'd be nice to have a scale drawing so we could really kind of read what we're looking at.
I was out of town, so I did not have time to drive by and look at your house and the neighbors. So I'm winging it here a little bit. I'm having trouble picturing that getting along with the rest of the neighborhood. And I'll know more when I do drive by your house.
Are you ready for a motion?
Yes, I'm requesting some photographs. It's a relationship to the neighborhood. Yes, please.
Okay. Motion to revise and resubmit with site plans showing neighborhood properties and placement of shed. Also requesting elevations, all elevations, with consideration to adding more detail to roof eaves, and relationship to existing house and neighboring properties to include photos.
And survey drawing
And survey drawing. Thank you.
with the shed located.
Okay.
Just a little more information. You're making a legitimate, nice effort to handle this, and hopefully maybe the pre-made shed people can accommodate some of this stuff. But it might be that you'd actually need a site-built shed with a drawing to do, to make something that would be consistent enough and nice enough for the neighborhood visually.
Yeah, the only question I have real quick is when you say visually, is there something like structurally you're looking for in particular, like matching the house mostly? Or
Yeah, matching the house, look at the house eaves. More, it'd be nice for us to have better photographs of the house to understand exactly what's there and the existing fence and all that stuff. Yeah.
I'll submit one with more photographs.
It has the look of a little tool shed, but it's not little. And,
No.
Okay. Where?
And then seeing all four sides of it. So of course we're looking from the neighbor's point of view. So looks like there's a window on that other side.
It's going to be fenced in by over like the 6-foot fence on either side. So you're not going to see.
You're not
much.
going to see a lot of it. Right. Okay. Well, that's helpful if we can understand the fence better.
I get the pictures of the fence, you'll see.
Yep. Great.
I'll second it if we don't have a second.
Motion by Naylor to revise and resubmit. Second by King. Childs,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Naylor.
Yes,
Okay. Mr. Cristaldo, if you can just resubmit your project and put you on the next agenda.
Thanks.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
141 West Summit. 8x8 pergola.
Mr. Reed, if you please state your name and your address.
Yep, can everyone hear me?
Yes,
My name is Colin Reed and my wife Melissa Reed is here. We're looking to submit, basically get approval for a permit for 141 West Summit Street. The pergola will be 8x8, so 64 square foot total. It's going to use, 4 6x6 wood posts for the base of the structure. And then there's a good picture of it right there. It has a wood slated roof with 2x6s. So it's going to be open to the atmosphere. Those top shades are just going to provide a little bit of shade for below. And the pergola is actually a DIY pergola from Toja. So the hardware comes and then you basically buy the wood from a local store. It's going to be in the rear of our structure down there, which Dominic has zoomed in. There's a little jut out of our house behind the garage. And that pergola is going to kind of fit in there to make it flush with the rear of the property. And then there's going to be a walkway that kind of comes to the right of our house that wraps around back to that back patio. And in the submittal, there's information about, the footings, how it's going to be secured to the actual patio. Underneath the footing, it's going to be how much depth on the total footer. And there's the information there for the anchorage and securement. The pergola is going to be around 30 foot away from my neighbor's house and 20 foot away from the property line, which also has a fence on it that was recently submitted about 3 years ago to Sugar Falls for a permit.
What's the kind of fence?
It's a split rail fence with a metal wire in between it. 2 rail split rail.
So visually pretty open.
Yes.
So again, I think you got a great start. It's a great concept. I think it's a great spot to put a pergola, but we really need more information. Like it'd be good to see how does this tie in with the existing house, color wise. Just I'm assuming it's a traditional house, and this looks a little contemporary or a little. So I guess if you could provide us with the elevations of the house with that pergola and how it relates to the house, how far is it off the wall of the house? Is it going to butt right up against the house? Are you going to paint this, or is it going to stay that color?
Stain it.
Sure. Yeah, I can kind of talk about that. This is in the submittal too. I'm going to try to stain it so it mimics a cedar-like appearance. We do have cedar shutters. It's a blue house with cedar shutters, so it's going to mimic those cedar shutters that are stained with similar stain on there. Dominic, do you have? I think you've scrolled all the way down. Do you have any of the 2 pictures I submitted of the house and the actual patio?
Looking, I vaguely remember seeing one of your submissions having a backyard photo, and I was trying to do that, but with my screen sharing up, I didn't want to start going through all my files with other information on them.
Sure. I can kind of talk about it. We have a single story ranch house that's blue with cedar shutters. There are two pictures that I submitted that show, kind of facing, it would be to the left of this picture, and then also facing, which would be north again. So two pictures that show, how the pergola is going to basically look towards the roof or towards the actual structure of the house.
It's probably worth finding those. I mean, I think they'll really help us. When Mr. Childs pointed out that it was contemporary looking, the reason for that, I would say, is that, typically pergolas kind of demonstrate the stacking effect. So you've got posts, you've got beams on top of the posts, then you've got some horizontal layer members on top of that. Sometimes there's even a third layer of even smaller, layer of members. And this is all together flush with the connectors shown and kind of an equivalence of the post and the beam. And that's what makes it a little more modern. It just kind of depends, does that fit the house? I think it's a little unusual in its aesthetic because you've got so much of the black metal showing. Also in the back, it's not large. We just want to kind of see how it tucks in there.
I'm really familiar with this house. It was vacant for a long time, and I assume you guys bought it from the people that bought it out of bankruptcy and renovated it. It's a cute little sort of 50s ranch. And they did a pretty nice job in the renovation of the house. It sits up on the hill or right at the end of Summit Street, and you cannot see their backyard from Chagrin Boulevard coming in because it's dropping so fast over the hill. My personal feeling is if they want to do a contemporary pergola and put it in their backyard, we should let them do it. If they want to do something more traditional, I'm sure they can find a similar fastening package that would move those horizontal members up and allow them to be, scalloped or whatever. But this is a really simple project, and we keep sending these people back to do revise and resubmit more drawings. And it's just, this is a pergola. It's in their backyard. You can't see it. Let them do it. Let's move on.
Well, that's good. It's good to get
We're not seeing it.
That helps.
That would be nice.
I know, we're just not getting the context, and you've got the context, so that's very helpful, Phil. You think it's got no impact to the neighbors?
You can't, that possibly that immediate neighbor could see it, but nobody else is gonna.
Bill's correct. You can't see
I
that.
personally would move it out further into their yard but that's,
I don't know.
Correct.
You got to see pictures. What we're kind of just blindly saying yes to. I know Phil knows the project, and that's great, but the rest of us, I have no clue what I'm looking at.
I would say that this project is a go, especially with Phil framing it for us. A couple of photographs would probably answer all of our questions.
We're looking for them.
Sure. And Dominic, I think I physically printed those off and dropped them off. I don't know if you're going to have them electronically.
I just checked your hard copy folder too, and I don't think I had those. They don't look like they're in there because I know you dropped off 2 applications. You dropped off one because you didn't know we needed an ABR submission.
Yeah.
And then you dropped off the ABR submission, and I can't find that first packet unless it's up front with Katie somewhere.
Sure. That's fine. I know last review you did do a Google Earth. I think when you do Google Earth for our house, they're not going to show the shutters, so they're going to be black shutters. We changed them to cedar, but the color of the house still is the same. So it's that dark blue color. And kind of what Phil was talking about was all right. You know, we bought it from the previous bank where it sat vacant for I think 2 or 3 years for someone who foreclosed on the house and kind of left it in disrepair. So we've been just trying to fix it up. If we can't find the pictures of the cedar shutters, I don't know of anything that's going to show those as
Also
well.
the black, you could say the black.
Should we just table this until we get photos?
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's call it a table or revise and resubmit. We just
resubmit
want a little more information before we approve you.
Table.
Do we need to do a motion? to
Colin, do
table it?
you possibly have those pictures ready available?
Not printed off again. No, I don't think I do. To what, show on the screen?
Yeah.
Could you show one?
Have you tried to screen share in Zoom before?
I could allow you to screen share if you have them accessible digitally.
Let's see. Sorry, if you could bear with me one moment.
No. I'm missing this picture to you.
Do you have a picture of the backyard?
I have this one. Or I could literally take some.
You know what? I'm sorry. I don't think we have a picture. And I would have to
That's fine.
switch to my camera roll. I'm sorry. I don't want to hold up the meeting and everything.
That's fine. We'll have this table. Was there a second on that table motion?
I second it.
Okay. So was that a motion by Naylor?
Yes.
Yes.
Second by King? Childs?
Yes.
Naylor?
Yes.
King?
Yes.
Sorry for the mix up on those
Yeah.
photos. If you
Thank you for your
resubmit
extra effort.
those, yeah, if you resubmit those photos by, Friday, you just be on the next meeting. I bet you're waiting for a little bit of snow to get off the ground before you actually put this
I don't
thing
think
in.
we ruined your weekend project.
I heard they were gonna start on Thursday. That's what I heard.
Yeah, I think we got a little bit of time. I'll submit those
All
photos.
right. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
420 North Street, new dwelling.
This is Dennis Marino.
Keep trying to build a house on this site.
It's such a tough lot.
We're waiting for Dennis Marino.
Mr. Marino, you're muted still. Somewhere on your lower bottom left half of your screen, there should be a microphone that you can unmute.
I'm also sending you a request to unmute.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
We
Yep.
can.
Okay.
We can't see you though.
Oh, let me do this. Hang on a second.
How are you, Dennis?
Good. How you guys doing?
Hi,
Pretty
Dennis.
good so far. There you go.
Okay.
Now we can see you.
There he is.
Just a reminder, there are a couple of things that come into play with this property. Hillside regulations and shared driveways. So this is more of a formal preliminary before any variances.
Okay.
What's the big red line that runs through the back of the house?
The rear yard setback
Okay,
or
The
the
rear
rear,
yard, I'm
That's the rear-
confused.
rear building line.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Just the roof. Yeah, the setback has to be way down there.
This is kind of showing where it is towards the hillside.
Not counting the deck.
Right.
Gotcha. Dennis, do you want to explain the project?
Well, I'm working with the client. We're basically doing essentially it's a ranch with walkout lower level. The lower level's well out of the ground. Fairly traditional. We've updated these drawings. Just yesterday, I got some updates on doing things that I'd asked Gary to wrap up here. The two gables on the front are now more uniform. We've got stone only goes up to the bottom of the window. And we've got the same detailed little eave across the bottom of the gable with doing a different texture, like a shake it on the gables, both gables. And I think we're considering a standing seam for this, the return part of the roof. It's going to be 6-inch lap siding. He really doesn't have any details on here yet, which is a little troubling for me, but obviously all these windows are trimmed with heads and sills and scaled up a little bit from where they're showing.
What kind of siding? Vinyl or
It would be, according to my client wants me to use the LP Smart Side, which I've used before and it's a pretty good product.
yeah.
What is that?
That's thicker vinyl, thicker, like
No,
actually.
it's
Smart Side is
a
wood,
composite wood.
engineered product.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
engineered wood. Sorry. Okay, thanks. Yeah, it looks like you do need more. And also there's a funny, I feel like it's almost like a CAD thing going on where half of these windows are showing like the 9th grid and the other half are showing the,
Yeah, we're
single
probably going
division.
to go, the mullions may go away completely. I think we have to look at that.
Well, that would be a pretty big change. I mean, I think if you go down to the four grid,
One or the other for sure.
you're safe. Yeah. One or the other. And then it needs to be a lot more detailing on that front entry with showing, those posts as something other than like a piece of pressure treated wood.
The porch has been widened up a little bit. It's got stone bases and the column should be more in the 8 to 10 inch range.
If you maybe look at that front door as a little more rectilinear, if you're doing a slightly more modern, I just think, I mean, you got work on that. What about I think the massing though, if just looking at this as a preliminary and remembering that you're mostly going to be looking at the roof of this structure.
Yes.
In the street. It's crazy because when I drive by the other house, you can barely see it.
Right.
I mean, my comment would be, let's work on the details together. I think it's a very strong case for an exception for a shared driveway because of the incredibly challenging topography. It's probably the only way you can do it.
Well, and technically, I'm not sharing it. My sister's at the end of the driveway. She's the one that's sharing it. So we'll have that debate with planning and zoning.
I don't understand that drawing. I'm sorry. I'm looking at it and I want to get out a ladder to go to the front door. I mean,
Well, he's not showing grade is, where grade is at on that. He's got the exposed foundation wall there because
and the chimney is exposed as well.
Pardon?
Well, the chimney is showing, so
that's not a chimney. There's actually we're gonna have a gas fireplace will be on the back side of the roof. That's actually sort of a double box bay going up the side of the house. Which is with windows in it.
Okay,
Aren't
so
shown.
it's way back from the.
Oh, they'll have windows. Okay, that's an
Yeah, I got
actual
two
bed.
steps.
Okay, I'm I'm
Ew.
there.
All right, I was not excited about that either.
Yeah,
No, they look a
I
little
think
different with windows.
The real challenge here is that you need Gary to dig to really project the topography through the structure at like 3 points plus the elevations, because none of these elevations are going to look like he's drawn.
Mhm.
And having watched the house next door, which drops into the same valley, and the difficulties they had getting the house to work in that kind of slope terrain. With
You were around that long ago, Phil?
Excuse me. Hello?
I said you were around that long ago?
No, not the house next door to this one. The house next door to me.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The lower level is 14 feet below, or 12 feet below the first floor.
Mhm.
And that's really what you're looking at here. So to try and, I mean, the amount of earth you're going to have to move, and the amount of and how this is really going to look when you actually work with the terrain, it isn't going to look anything like this. So you can tell us that the two gables are the same pitch, and that the stone only goes up halfway, but it's on that side of the house, the stone's going to be down below that level if it's exposed to the grade, which is dropping like fast off to the side of that house. So I have a hard time kind of, this is a ranch, like you said, on a train that needs to put the damn thing on piers in order to make it work. So I need a lot more information in order.
So this is a preliminary.
I had one other comment as well too on the facade portion of the house, not the garage area. The proportion of the windows are hitting me. Whether do the windows need to be larger?
That's our
like the
intent.
shutters added, something that makes those
Trim detail.
It's definitely throwing it off because they're without trim. The windows, our intent is actually to go probably a size wider and maybe a little taller on all of them. But then by the time I put 4-inch casing and heads and sills and everything on it, they're going to look much more substantial. So it's just it's throwing you off.
If you're going wider, I'd go taller too. And I think going taller would really benefit. I mean, you need to cover a little more of the wall.
I have
the trim will obviously help with that.
The drawback, one of them is in a bathroom, so I got to be a little careful. But that's other than that, I fully agree. Sure.
Mr. Marino is.
I mean, I think from a guidance standpoint,
You listen to it.
I don't really have a problem with this approach. The two front-facing gables, except that.
Just knew it was today.
Am I freezing
We're
up?
getting background noise.
Mr. Marino has admitted.
I don't have a problem with the approach, except
the drawings are very, very preliminary, and that's admittedly so. We're looking for a preliminary approval, which is usually massing and so forth. Are we there?
No,
I think those gables need to be restudied a little so that they at least have the same roof slope.
Yeah, these forms here
I don't know
don't
if you can see that.
whatsoever. And this is way too high, and these fascia boards are way too thick. And you have an opportunity to do, I guess what I'm saying is you have the same set of windows here and here, and they don't even align with this axis here. I mean, I think personally, I think you have an opportunity here to really massage and finesse, and I think it's a little ways still to go before you get there, is my gut. And I think that side elevation with this piece here is, to me, looks really kind of odd. And the way it hits the gable on the side, it almost like crashes up into the eave. So could you go around the drawings here real quick? Let's see. And then windows, I know, again, if it's a CAD there, but these windows have no relationship.
That's
to
a
these
screen
windows.
porch. Those are, yeah, that's screening really is what that's supposed to be. So full width screening.
Yeah.
Wow. Sure can't
So-
tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, could you go down another elevation there, Dominic? And then this, yeah, if there's any way to eliminate this and maybe get some windows or try to finesse this is kind of unfortunate how that crashes into that form there, and that how it steps
No,
out.
that roof should line up with the eaves. I agree.
Yeah. Can you go to the back then? And then on the back here, like this should all be consistent right here. These windows, and then, I wouldn't just all of a sudden this happens. I don't know. I don't personally wouldn't do that. I would try to
No,
figure out
that's,
do a composition here with the windows. But I think this needs a little ways to go, in my personal opinion, but it's up to the other members too.
Mhm. I mean, I think the concept of the massing of the ranch house and this lot makes sense, because it would be so tall on the downhill slope if it were a 2-story. I think you just need to develop this scheme. Obviously, there's other challenges with the hillside, and just kind of get further through all that. I think this board will be supportive when you iron out a lot of the architectural issues that really haven't been addressed in these drawings.
Yeah, I agree with George. It's, you're on your way and stuff. It just needs a lot of finessing and a lot of massaging, but we'll definitely, support and help.
The clapboard chimney, which we typically are not excited about, this is a very odd situation. We should give guidance on that, I would say now.
I think Dennis said it was actually a bay window, that without windows.
I thought it was a
It
fireplace.
needs windows.
yeah, unfortunately, I got revisions yesterday and I guess I'm too late to submit them, but yeah, we've done a lot of this stuff already.
Okay, well, we'll look forward to seeing that.
Yes. I move
I
to
guess-
revise and resubmit.
Second.
My question before we proceed now, procedurally, do we have to come back for another preliminary per se on this, or if you?
Yes, you need an approval of your preliminary project first.
And if it's closer, we'll give you the preliminary approval. There's just like a whole laundry list of things to iron out. And I'm sure you have ironed out a lot of them, Dennis, already.
Yeah, it sounds like it's already been done.
I have a motion by King with a second by Naylor to revise and resubmit. Child,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay. 296 North Street. Yes, our front porch.
Oh, yeah, the front porch.
I heard you decided to run the porch all the way across finally.
We're still looking to meet your wife.
I was gonna say, Steve, if you want to pay for it, I gladly go all the way across.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm Stafford Worley, homeowner, 296 North. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's all. I think what you were looking for was more detail on the, like the, I don't know what you call them, but the columns basically, and some kind of a beam.
Right. Looks like you got an architrave there, columns, you got a base and a cap and a top cap. Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, I'd love to let this thing get going.
Yep, I agree.
We'll start Thursday.
Okay,
Good.
wear extra underwear.
Move to approve plans as presented.
I'll second it.
Motion by Naylor and Childs. Okay. All right. Motion by Naylor, second by Childs. All right. Oh, yeah, I'll 10 o'clock tomorrow. All right, thanks, bud. Sorry about that. There was a motion by Naylor and a second by Childs.
Yes.
Is that correct? King,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
Childs.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Very good. Off you go.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see, 22 North Main Street, sign for Timmon Window, which is now under Douglas.
That looks a lot better to me.
Yeah, that looks a
Yeah.
lot better to me.
Looks
Yeah.
good. Mhm.
Good job.
Nice
Yeah, nice.
looking.
Is there anybody here to speak or should we just approve it?
Gabriel, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, sorry about that there. How you guys doing today?
Good morning.
Give me one moment.
Yeah, it looks, the scale looks is much more
Yeah.
pleasing.
Yes.
Very happy with that.
Yeah.
Move to approve plans as presented.
Second?
Motion by Naylor to approve, second by King. Childs,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Thanks
That
for
was
coming.
easy.
Thank you.
Good for you.
Nice and easy.
Uh,
Thank you guys.
87 South Main Street. 42-inch tall picket pointed fence in the rear yard.
I love this fence. And it's 42. I mean, what's not to like?
Everything complies with the front yard fence. Zoning wise.
It's a great resolution, and
It's a great solution.
I think we should appreciate the
Yes.
flexibility of the applicant and considering all those issues.
Yes.
Thank
Do you have
you.
any-
Motion to approve plan is presented.
Mr. Burns, did you have anything you wanted
Oh, pardon
to
me.
say?
I know better than to open my mouth when I don't need to.
Okay.
Say,
You know, this is on Zoom. We have
Good
a
morning,
recording.
Jordan. Yeah.
We're recording of this.
Yes, please take note.
So motion to approve by Naylor. Second was by King.
Actually, I didn't.
Nope. There's the second.
Mr. Childs, I will second.
Okay, second by King. Childs,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
King. King,
Yes.
thank you.
Nothing like a good spike fence. Yeah.
And I think it's worth, we don't usually comment a lot on affirmative motions, but I think it's worth commenting that the applicant has been willing to really put a front yard fence in the rear yard to benefit the very unusual circumstance of having essentially a front yard neighbor behind him. So I'm pleased that there was a resolution to this.
Yes. I do not share your views.
Just my views.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
251 North Street.
I see Becky's here. Okay, she's coming.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hey.
Morning.
So you've seen this a number of times before. Not having a dormer was not an option. We came with a flat roofed option. We came with a gable option. Now we are doing a pretty extensive option that I think will be quite charming and resolve some of the spatial issues and light in the second floor. We've gotten the variances that we needed to be able to tear off the garage, the forward facing garage. If you want to scroll up and see what the house looks like today, I dare somebody to tell me this isn't a huge improvement, but we're taking that front facing garage off, sliding it to the back of the property, not bringing the front porch any farther forward than it is now. It's ultimately going to be more aesthetic than it is functional because of how shallow it is. And, you know, resolving some existing discrepancy in windows.
Yeah, and you were presenting the house now and not the garage, is that
Yeah,
correct?
it's two submissions. We're gonna do the house first and then look at the garage.
Thanks, Dominic.
I think this looks lovely.
Well, thanks, Phil. I appreciate that.
I also think it's a successful composition on the front. I think I like asymmetrical compositions, and I think this one balances out very nicely.
Yes.
Rebecca, can you just talk about how the standing seam roof on the porch pediment and roof ties into what are you doing on a shingle roof? Like, how does that break? Do you understand what I'm talking about? So you've got that extended roof line from the upright that extends into the pediment at the front door. And are you switching roof materials at that line to standing seam?
Yep.
And then,
Probably if we went to a side elevation, we might be able to see what I think
You can-
Wendy's asking about.
You can see it on the
Down.
side.
it's the side elevation on
Down to the
A3.
left.
There it
There you
is.
go. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done,
Uh-huh.
the reality is I am concerned about the budget and don't know that we're going to get metal roof anywhere on this, but I have done transitions just like this on other projects, and the metal kind of goes up under as a flashing solution.
Mhm.
And yeah, that just makes that transition. The reality is on this particular project, I don't know how you would see that transition, but I wouldn't be worried if somebody could.
Okay.
I like it. I don't care for the metal roof myself. I hope the budget cuts it out of there.
This is great.
We're probably going to lose the shutters, Wendy, just as a FYI.
Oh, no, that's Phil.
Oh, Phil,
That's
sorry.
Phil with the shutters.
Don't fall in love with the shutters. They're probably not staying, Phil. It's a pretty tough problem. I don't know if anybody appreciates like all the, you know, the off-centeredness of the existing composition, but
Yeah, it's a tough house and it wasn't determined to be historic. So there's some latitude here. And the only thing I was noticing was that mix of the roof materials.
I think it's a tremendous improvement, tremendous.
Thanks, Steve. All right, motion to approve? Or do we have to go to the garage first?
No, we can do the house. We can do the house changes first.
Motion to approve is presented with the option to change the metal roof if necessary. And the shingle.
Second,
Motion by King, second by Naylor. Childs,
Yes.
Naylor,
yes.
King.
Yes.
Okay, preliminary approval for the house. And now we can go to the garage. And Becky, were we getting grade plans on the driveway?
Yeah, you'll get grade plans for the whole project, but I'm not gonna,
Okay,
I don't really want to do that until you guys like tell me that this project is feasible or that this is viable, I guess. This is pretty accurate and you can see the grade changes. We've shown this all together so that you guys can see the project as a whole, even though we need to approve them separately or independently.
Well, I like the garage. I think it's much more, it's easier to understand with the way you've drawn it now. And it's a tight site, but if you can pull it off, the only I think you're going to find that corner on the garage side elevation, that back corner is not leveling out at all. It's dropping continues to drop down into the neighbor's property. But other than that, that's a structural and grade issue. You're gonna have to build a reinforced wall to hold the floor, but you can do it, and it's not going to substantially change the architecture.
Can you comment on the foundation material? Is that regular CMU?
Yeah, it is. That's what's on the house now. We're likely to parge and paint dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this garage is very consistent. You can see when
What is the foundation? I'm sorry, what was the foundation?
Concrete
CMU.
block. Concrete block, yeah. But so I like the fact that when you really see that garage and the house together and you've ghosted in the house elevation, they definitely look like they fit together. Roof slopes consistent. I think that's really good.
Yeah, I think everything looks really good. I was just saying on that side elevation, can you put at least just one window here to break up this big wall and some shutters just to give it a little character for the next door neighbor?
I'll let Kristen chime in on that. You have to unmute yourself. We could probably farm some window off of the house, Kristen, and appease that request. My potentially bigger concern, and can you go to the rear elevation of the garage, is just all of Matthew's. Yeah, you can still get stuff on the rear, storage, I guess. Everybody wants walls in their garage from the inside.
Because of where this is set all the way back, the neighbors don't even, their deck isn't close to this. There's going to be trees that are still there in the middle. So if it's necessary, yes, but this isn't something they're going to be staring at because of where it sits on the property.
Kristen, can you just identify yourself as the homeowner?
I'm Kristen LaPresti, homeowner 251 North Street.
Thank you.
Just a suggestion. I mean, it'd be nice just to give it a little more aesthetic appeal, but hey, if the function's
Yeah, I
there,
think if you scroll down, Dominic, to the eagle view at the bottom, you can see there's a tree, right? Is that what you're saying? There's no sight line
Oh, yeah, that there's,
to the neighbor. You can
does
kind
that big tree stay? No.
There's 2 rows of trees. The row that's closest to our property will be coming down, but there will be a second row of trees. And they don't have any windows right there. The garage will be further back and their deck will be by their trees. So I would think, if I was to guess, because I'm not an architect, but they will be looking more at the front of the garage rather than the side of the garage.
Okay.
To look off their deck.
In terms of what's coming down and what's staying, and the landscaping, was that commented on, and was that part of the conversation at the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting? What came from the Board of Zoning Appeals that we should be considering? Because
a neighbor did request to have some screening there. It was actually the neighbor 2 doors down, but apparently they're working together to buy the middle property. So this would belong to her ultimately. And the BZA board did not think that that was necessary. Ultimately, this is kind of like a force my hand, piss me off, but they have the same, my client, Kristen and Matthew, have the same desire for privacy as the neighbor. It's just, we had to go to get a variance for our driveway because her driveway is too close to our property. So we're losing property, usable property that could be driveway over there. And I think that's just kind of like apparently in Chagrin, you have to have driveways 6 feet apart. One of the variances was so that we can have a driveway 3 feet from our property line, even though 2 feet is standard.
I see what you're saying. Okay,
so we're having to shove our driveway closer to the house because of their existing condition. And I think,
but going to the backyard, so in the rear yard, how far is the garage from the property line, and is it possible to do landscaping between the garage and the property line, maybe to replace some of the landscaping that it looks like would have to come down, which is the line of arborvitaes that we're seeing is coming down, right?
Why don't we just go back and put the window in? We're 3 feet from the property line, but.
Oh, 3 feet? Okay, that's pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, it's
with the garage.
R150, right? So we're 3 feet from the property line to our eave. Our driveway is also 3 feet from the property line. So we have space to do landscaping. Ultimately, we may elect to do landscaping, but there may be slight frustration we have a very tight site. You guys have all made comments about, navigating into this garage. And now my neighbor's not I want to buy some of that property. My client wants to buy some of that property so that we could make this more accessible, a better end product. And that doesn't appear to be an option. And then as I see it, we're being further punished by having to put in more landscaping that she's going to have all the space in the world to do.
You're characterizing this
landscape along a 3 foot next to a garage is just lunacy.
I don't think there's room for any landscaping.
Right next to your foundation, anything that's going to grow to hide anything. You're going to put some bushes down there and they're going to hide the foundation. That's it. It's just,
and that's fine.
to be talking about it.
I agree with that. because 3 feet, because clearly this garage can't move an inch further from the property line. And 3 feet isn't adequate for trees. So I mean, it could be up to your neighbor if they want to landscape. They're, you know, that they're
I'm sorry,
obviously-
did I misunderstand what you, maybe my response was
Well,
wrong?
I just was trying to understand the landscaping situation. I guess there's more landscaping potentially on their property, which I believe Kristen, if I'm getting your name wrong, I apologize, but Kristen mentioned. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't think there's any way to landscape along the side of the garage in this, on your property. So I was just trying to understand that whole situation. And I was,
Yeah, I just didn't.
I
want to be-
wasn't trying to be directive. I was just trying to figure it out. But I get it. I get that would be not possible. I think it's, and then I'm also assuming you don't need retaining walls, right?
Right.
Okay. All right.
I'm not hearing that we need any changes to the plan that's being presented, Ron.
I don't think so. Or adding the window would be nice because I do think they're looking at the side of that. I don't think that's crazy to add one window. I don't think you're actually going to improve the storage because you get better light in there.
I'm sure we can find a window somewhere to put on the side of the house, but if they want to add, they definitely will have room as far as the landscaping goes to add more trees because we are only removing ours. We want privacy as well, but they can definitely, their backyard has room. So I'll trade you a tree for we'll put a window in there and it'll be all good.
So let it be said, so let it be done. Move to approve as presented.
Second. Oh, Bill, go ahead.
I'll second.
Motion to approve preliminary plans by King, second by Childs. Naylor,
Yes, with a window at garage north elevation side.
King,
Yes.
Childs.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Nobody likes to see a tree go down, but it's the way it has to be. Dom, anything else going on today?
Do we have any walk-ins?
Should I be walking in for?
No.
I'm still trying to figure out the process. I heard today that preliminary approvals are required, which that is news to me, but good to know. But we turned in 65 West Washington early and we're not able to.
Because you didn't have your variance application in till yesterday. So I sent out the agenda last Thursday and I didn't have your updated plans. So the board didn't get a chance to review them.
So do we need to just tell me what the process is so that I don't keep fumbling through what goes first? Because I was under the impression that we go to preliminary approval first, then go to BZA, then go back to final ARB.
And that is correct. But in the process of getting on the agenda, I need to have confirmation that you've submitted for the BZA for the variances, and then I can put you on the agenda. But since I didn't get confirmation that your variance application was submitted until 4 o'clock yesterday, I'd already sent out the agenda 5 days prior to that. So I just needed you would need to told me last week that you had your application in, or I'd be informed by somebody upstairs that your BZA application has been submitted.
So I I missed an email or something. I didn't respond that yes, we're submitting.
Necessarily, yes, because, you know, Rob told me that your application has been accepted, and that was yesterday when everything was submitted. So that's when I found out that everything was in. So at that point, now you're on the next agenda. So if you would have had it in last, you know, Wednesday at the latest, before I sent out an agenda sheet, you would have been on it.
Isn't our next meeting is prior to that Board of Zoning Appeals meeting?
Yes.
Correct? So you're still going to be reviewed before the BZA.
So we're just on the February 15th
Yes.
ARB? Okay. Sorry, it's tough to keep the dates in order and when things are supposed to be submitted. I thought we submitted everything in early and we're in good shape, and so not the case, apparently. So really the BZA application has to be submitted like 10 days before the 30 days deadline or something.
It's something that we can work out when you just let
Okay.
me know that it's being submitted. We don't have a hard deadline on that date to get you, because there's always going to be 2 meetings before the next BZA. So in this case where you didn't get on this meeting for 65 West Washington, there's still the 15th meeting before the BZA. So there's always at least 2 meetings in between the application deadlines and the BZA. And like I said, sometimes just communicating that you have the stuff in or you're sending it in lets me know before Rob sends me a confirmation email that an application's been submitted, and I can put you on the agenda. Which is kind of how we did 251 the first time. You know, I knew ahead of time that you were having that application submitted, and I was able to get you on the agenda. But since I didn't have any confirmation from you or Rob that it was in until yesterday, I wasn't able to put you on because I have to send out the board members the agenda the prior week.
So it's probably not reasonable to ask, but do you think if you send an email that says this is required to be on the agenda, or are you going, you know, like, if I hate to put more work on you, it's just, I don't know. I'm just really trying to figure out how to make this process a little smoother and easier for all of us, because it's incredibly confusing and seemingly different, but all right.
Okay, we can discuss it again later, off the Zoom call.
Yes, further discussion doesn't require the board, I don't think.
Now, I thought I saw a hand raised by
Yeah,
Mr.
I'm
Reed.
seeing notes from the Reeds that I think the photos have been sent.
Yes, they're in your email, Dominic.
Okay, let me go check that. Is my screen still sharing my email?
Yep.
Yes.
Can't zoom these pictures out.
Oh, okay.
See, I don't know how this is showing up on your guys' screen.
We're seeing it.
Okay,
We're literally seeing what you're seeing right now.
right. I just didn't know if it made sense. So,
You're good. If you scroll back up, I mean,
so there's the front yard.
yeah.
And I guess this is the corner he's talking about.
And Cullen's back on.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
And it's going right in the corner, fairly tight.
Tucking in that, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be very tight and then go flush up against the the rear end of the property. So some of those stones will be removed to put in the footers. We kind of were just laying the patio before we thought about actually doing the pergola.
So the big squares are going and the other is going to be extended across.
Because
I'm sorry.
it's going to sit on the big stones with. So
Yes,
the-
yeah, the big
So it's off,
cornerstone.
it's off the border. So it's at least a foot.
It's
plus.
freestanding, then it's not tied into the house, right?
Correct, Wendy. It's freestanding.
Okay.
And yes, the big stone in the
Okay.
corner will be removed and footers will go in.
Okay.
I move to approve.
Second,
Motion by King, second by Naylor to approve. Childs,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Naylor,
yes.
thank you.
Well, you're like Mahomes finishing up a game in the last 13 seconds here.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. I appreciate you.
Oh,
I
okay.
appreciate it all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Should we talk about the combined joint meeting, Dom?
Well, isn't there a walk-in?
Oh.
There's no walk-in.
Was that, Reed come back in? I think he was the
That
one that
was
raised his
Reed.
hand.
Okay, so.
Were there any other walk-ins?
So Dave Payne is not coming. Okay.
Painting was handled poorly primarily by me, because each project is separate, and I didn't think of it as besmirching Payne, but nobody should besmirch Payne because Payne is an excellent construction company, and I've had discussion with Frank Gallucci, letting him know that not to overread our comments from the last meeting, and I apologize for any misdirection that I've given people. A bigger company has people who make decisions on the ground, and sometimes things get away. But Payne & Payne is an excellent construction company. We'd rather work with them than most others, that's for sure. That's all I have to say on that.
Thank you for your comments, Steve. I agree. And as well, I apologize for any and appreciate Payne & Payne continuing to present projects to us.
Yes, good. How does the 9th lay out, Dom? I think I understand it, but is there?
I believe there's going to be a link sent out from, I believe Dale or Rob. And we'll just have general discussion on the appeals process.
But we open up a regular meeting and then we adjourn to executive session.
Correct.
Do we sign out of the meeting that we're in to do that?
Yes, you will. The facilitator here will keep that meeting running, just like we do for an executive session. Both boards will start their own meetings, and then they'll both adjourn to executive session, leaving that meeting running with the facilitator. So you'll then click the link that's sent to you from Rob or Dale, go to executive session, and then when that session's closed, you'll return back to your ABR meeting to adjourn the meeting as normal.
We'll get you some direction, Steve.
Very good. Leave me by the hand.
Well, it gets a little complicated.
Yeah. Very good. Any other business today? Very good. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
board
you.
members.